now that I've got the pedestal itself routed for the legs, I'm going to start making the legs. I'm taking some 4/4 stock, thicknessed it, jointed it, and glued them together, and I'm getting ready to square these on the joiner. So let's get to that. The first thing I want to do is I want to get one of these edges on each of these nice and square to the face. So I'm going to put the joiner, put it up against the fence, and square that up. Now that I've got a jointed edge here and I've got a flat face, I'm going to run through my thickness planer to get them down to thickness. What I need to get these is 3 inches, and once I get them down to there, they're about 3 3/4 now. It's going to take a few passes on the thickness planer, but we'll get it down there. I think it's the easiest way to do it. I've got the stock milled down to 3 inches. Actually, it's a little bit strong of 3 inches. I just want to make sure that it's going to fit exactly into the mortise I've cut in the pedestal, and I'm going to check in another spot just to a little anal about stuff like that, I guess. Yeah, it's a very good fit. It's a nice tight slip fit. So now that I've got these done, I'm going to have to take them, I'm going to rip them down to almost finished width. Well, the way I'm going to make these legs is, as I said, I've got it down to the final thickness. I've made a template of how I want the legs to go, and this is what I'll use on the router with the pattern bit. Just want to put it down on here, make sure I've got plenty of extra. So, this to that, about 3 1/2 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to 3 3/4 inches, maybe 3 7/8 inches. I'm going to rip these down to the final width. I've got my leg stock all ready to be cut. I'm going to take my template, I'm going to mark out around it, and then cut those out on the bandsaw. Mark this on here. Remember, I've got the sapwood here, so I'm not going to see it there. I just want to take this piece, butt up against here, and make sure I'm flat up against the bottom there, and on this edge, which is square. Move this away, take a pencil, and mark all the way around here. One nice thick line that I'll be able to see on the bandsaw. This is walnut. I wish I had a white pencil, but I don't, so I'll do with what I have. Alright, got the outline, just cut outside the line on the bandsaw. Then I'll be able to use the template with the pattern routing bit and shape the rest of it to side. Just finish the rest. I've got my bandsaw set up. I've got a nice sharp blade, got the guide set, got the tension set. I'm pretty much ready to go, and let's go. Seems to be a nice level cut here. Stay outside the lines. I will trim this all down with the pattern, and we're ready to go with that next step as soon as I cut the rest of them out. My blanks cut for the legs. I'm getting ready to attach the pattern to that to do the pattern routing. Got some double-sided tape on here. I'm getting ready to mount my pattern to it. I want to make sure that that is totally flat against the bottom when I do that. So be careful. I'm going to put this side down first. From the back here. That's flush with the bottom. Press this down nice and tight. Alright, that's good. That's good. So I'll take it over to my router now and we'll route this out. Alright, well I've got a pattern routing bit set up in my routing table. I've got the ball, this is a one with the ball bearing at the bottom. That's going to ride against this pattern. I've also got a starting pin in here so I can ease this in. Another thing I want to make sure when I do this, I've got end grain here, and I don't want to come out on the end grain. I want to go in on the end grain. So when this bit's spinning this way, there's not going to be there's a less chance of blowing out this underneath. So I'm going to start here, ease it in, and then go around. So let's get. All right, well that did a pretty good job. Now, of course, the bit is only 2 inches tall, and this piece is 3 inches thick. So after I get done doing the same procedure on the other 3 legs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another bit on here that's got the pattern bit on the top. I'm going to roll them through like this, and it'll reference off this edge. So let's get the other 3 cut, and then we'll come back and do that. Well, I've got one side of the pattern routed. I'm getting ready to do the remainder of it. I've got a different pattern routing bit in here. This time I've got a top mounted bearing. What I'm going to do is basically the same thing but just in reverse. I'm going to place this edge up against the already rounded profiles and then get the rest of this off of there. So I still want to pay close attention to the end grain. I'm going to start here, round this over, and then I'm going to go this way and back. Right, did a very nice job. It's nice and even all the way around. This is going to take some, final sanding and everything to get it perfect. But again, came out very nice. And I'll just go ahead and do the other 3 legs, and we'll be done with this part. Now that I've got my leg blanks pretty much complete for the pattern, anyways, I'm going to start working on the dovetails that go up into the pedestal. I've got the same dovetail router bit that I've used to create the tenons. And now I'm going to create the actual dovetails themselves. So I've got the bit set at 7/8 inch, which is the right depth. I've got it to about where I think that the depth of the cutter should be. And I'm going to make a test cut. I'm just going to creep up on it and see how close I get. Test the fit real quick. It's just a little bit loose, but it's not bad. I just want to move the fence just a little bit to compensate for that. Last thing about this fence is it does have micro adjustment on it, so let me do that. I'm going to move it to just a little bit. All right, and we'll give it another pass. Here's the end of the pedestal. I just want to take this and fit it in there and see if it goes. There's still a little bit left, but once I get it in there, it starts to get tight. I want to make sure that it's just tight. I don't want it too tight because I need room for glue in it. So I'm just going to test several of them and make sure we're good. That one's still a little bit tight. That's okay. I can fine-tune each leg to fit. It's nice and tight. That's a nice fit. All right, well, I guess I will do the legs. All right, well, I'm getting ready to cut the legs. Not only does this fence have a micro adjustment on it, but it also has this nice tall support on it. I'm just going to feed this through using these push paddles. I'm just going to take my time. So I'm going to go very slow when it exits, and I'm actually not very concerned. Walnut's pretty good. I don't think I'm going to have a lot of blowout, but I think I'm going to be okay. Let's see how this goes. Actually, there is no blowout. I'm just going to test this fit on the leg. All right, I'm just going to give this a test fit. Turn it around the right way. It's pretty good. It's still a little bit loose, but I'm pretty good with that. I think we'll be all right with these. It's fairly tight. So once I get the glue in there, that'll tighten right up. So let's cut the other legs. All right. Well, I've got the pedestal mounted in my vise here, just clamped up so it doesn't roll around. I'm gonna have to take each leg and individually fit them to each mortise. So what I need to do is I put it in there, and I remember when I cut these mortises, I used a dovetail bit, so they're rounded over here. I have a choice. I can round over the actual leg itself or chisel out what's left. I'm going to chisel out what's left. So I just need to mark where that starts. And just got a nice sharp chisel and start chiseling out and get that. I've got the sides and bottom of this all set and ready for mortise here. I want to make sure that goes in. I really want to make sure that it lines up flush at the bottom as my reference point. And snug up on top, flat on the bottom. That's the way I want it. So I'll just mark this. Legs position. And do the other three. I've got all the legs fitted into the base. The next step is to do some sanding on these, get rid of the machine marks, and then I will glue them to the pedestal, and then this part of the project is